A very good afternoon and welcome to Pan-African News on Pan-African Television with me, Mordia Anane Nata. We stream live on Facebook at Pan-African Television, and also we are live on GoTV channel 182. Now let's take a look at our top stories making headlines. NDC retains disputed Sene West seat after long legal battle. Honorable Christopher Berry wins Techiman South with 50,420 votes, says NDC. Now, NDC presents evidence to back election rigging claims. On our business front, electoral dispute will have no real effect on investors' confidence. This and many other stories, including sport, international, from our People's Dispatch, and also from our entertainment coming up shortly in the next 1 hour. Second stay. Now the news in detail. The National Democratic Congress has presented what it described as an introvertible piece of evidence to further dispute the outcome of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary election. Speaking at a press conference held at the party's headquarters yesterday here in Accra, the National Communication Officer of the party, Sami Jemfi, said, per the evidence gathered by the NDC, the results declared by the Electoral Commission were fraudulent and flawed. According to him, the election was rigged by the Commission, acting in contest with the ruling New Patriotic Party for the party from the President Akufo-Addo and other NPP and parliamentary candidates.
We did say here that at our coalition point, we gathered all 267 pinches, believing that the NPP also have gathered similar pinches, so that collating the results would have been easier for the purpose of transparency. At our coalition points, these are the figures that cannot be disputed. From polling station 1 to polling station last, we see the figure for Honorable Christopher Berry, 50,420. Honorable Martin Kwakubusa, 49,825. Clearly, the MP elect is not Martin Adele Sakusa. But last week, I did hear Honorable Prince Yaudoyan, the former NC, in a press conference, when he claimed he was responding to the General Secretary of our great party. He even went ahead to say that when the Electoral Commission was collating these results, the Electoral Commission was consulting NPP for pages. Therefore, the Electoral Commission did its independent collation with the NPP, but not with the NDC. That's what I gathered from what Prince Yabelina stated. What he arrogantly intimated was that. Now,
about issues pertaining to the results of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections declared by the Techiman-led Electoral Commission. On December 7, 2020, we went for the presidential and parliamentary elections. As a key stakeholder, the NDC had hoped that the process would be free, fair, and peaceful. Unfortunately, that was not the case. The elections was rigged by the Techiman-led Electoral Commission, acting in concert with the New Patriotic Party for candidate Akufo-Addo and other NPP parliamentary candidates. And so the results declared by the Techiman-led Electoral Commission is a stolen verdict, as the NDC has maintained since the declaration. And this is why the party and our flag bearer have roundly rejected the results declared by the Electoral Commission. And so, to start with, we want to retrace that position and state that we still stand by that position. The election results declared by Techiman South and the Electoral Commission of Ghana is a fraudulent one. The whole process and the results, the outcome that has been publicized is completely flawed. And so as a political party, we maintain our position that we cannot accept the results, we reject the results, and same should not be allowed to stand. Now, since our flag bearer and the NDC communicated this position to the nation and the world, there have been calls for us to adduce evidence to justify our decision to reject the results as declared by the Electoral Commission. Some have suggested that John Mahama and the NDC are bound losers, and that our opposition to the declared results is nothing but salvage. Some have suggested that we have no evidence of electoral fraud, and that we should go to court if we think that we have evidence that there was electoral fraud, and so many issues. And so we have invited you here, ladies and gentlemen, to share with you just a few of the incontrovertible pieces of evidence we have gathered that shows that the results declared by Techiman South, and here I'm talking about the presidential results, is fraudulent. And that was not the outcome of the December 7, 2020 polls. What we are going to share with you is just a tip of the iceberg. We are sharing this with you because this issue is a matter of great public interest. We are not going to try any issue in the court of public opinion, no. But Ghanaians who voted for change deserve to know that the true verdict they voted for has been stolen. We cannot continue to keep Ghanaians, the media, in the dark for the NPP and their surrogates to go around deceiving people that the election was free, fair, and peaceful, there was no rigging and all that. And so, just like our flag bearer and the leadership of the party have already indicated, we are conducting an audit into the declared results, auditing all pieces. So far, we've gathered several pieces of evidence that shows that the elections, number one, was not free, fair, and peaceful. And that the results declared, I want to repeat, are fraudulent. And I believe that by the time we are done with this presentation, you will be left in no doubt about the truthfulness of this statement I just made.
Now, away from that, the National Democratic Congress, Director of Election for Techiman South constituency, has said the party is in possession of all the 267 pink sheets from the constituency. In a presentation at the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress, he indicated that after collation of all the results, the NDC candidate Christopher Bayere won the seat with 50,420 votes as against the NPP candidate Martin Kweku Kosa with 49,825 votes. He has asked the New Patriotic Party to stop counting the Techiman South seat as part of the parliamentary seat it has won since the people of the constituency never voted for them.
We did say here that at our coalition point, we gathered all 267 pink sheets, believing that the NPP also have gathered similar pink sheets, so that collating the results would have been easier for the purpose of transparency. At our coalition points, these are the figures that cannot be disputed. From polling station 1 to polling station last, we see the figure for Honorable Christopher Bansonchi Bere, 50,420. Honorable Martin Kwaku Kosa, 49,825. Clearly, the MP elect is not Martin Adele Sakosa. But last week, I did hear Honorable Prince Yaldoyan, the former MC, in a press conference, when he claimed he was responding to the General Secretary of our great party. He even went ahead to say that when the Electoral Commission was collating these results, the Electoral Commission was consulting NPP for pages. Therefore, the Electoral Commission did its independent collation with the NPP, but not with the NDC. That's what I gathered from what Prince Yabulina stated. What he arrogantly intimated was that. Now, for the records, Regulation 43 of CI 127 states that there should be what? Public collation of the entire results. That is by way of reconciling the figures. These figures that we have, if you take there are mistakes inside, what will happen is that when we sit down with the Electoral Commission will take original clean sheet, we with our duplicates, then the figures can be what? Clearly reconciled for the purpose of transparency. That is why we say election has become transparent, free and fair. But you don't go to do your secret collation in your kitchen, then you come to tell me, this is the figure I have declared somebody the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, it is good to hear that Sene West is back to the NDC. That proves a talent to Techiman South to fight hard until Techiman South is back to the NDC. So that I want to tell the NPP, they are claiming 137, 137, 137. It's better they start saying 136 because Techiman South is never forever. The people of Techiman South never, I repeat, never voted Martin Kosa. The people of Techiman South voted for Christopher Bere and John Dramani Mahama.
Now, the National Democratic Congress has won the parliamentary seat in the Sene West constituency in the Bono East region. The area where result became a subject of contention saw a petition for an interlocutory interjection by the New Patriotic Party thrown out by the Wenchi High Court.
The injunction was being sought with regards to polls at the Tattoo A polling station in Tatubato. The court ruling paved way for the Electoral Commission to declare the results of the parliamentary contest in the Sene West constituency. It has also fined the party 14,000 cedis, describing the petition as irredeemably incompetent as the Electoral Commission proceeded to count the ballots in the contest. Following the counting of the Tattoo A polling station ballots, the National Democratic Congress secured 275 votes against the New Patriotic Party's 148, leaving the National Democratic Party with just one vote. A total of 47 votes were rejected. The result was subsequently reconciled with that of other already collated from all stations, after which the National Democratic Congress's Kwame Ampofochumesi won with a cumulative 13,116 against Joseph Mackay Kuma of the New Patriotic Party, who polled 13,100 per the provisional results. The National Democratic Party, however, garnered 191 in the constituency. There were a total of 26,407 valid votes cast, with 660 rejected ballots. The counting was supervised by the Electoral Commission officials in the company of Dan Kwekubuchi of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress General Secretary Johnson Asiedun Kitia, among others. The slim margin of 16 votes brings the parliamentary seats to 137 apiece, with the New Patriotic Party biased independent candidate making up a full house.
Some supporters of the National Democratic Congress have besieged the headquarters of the Electoral Commission at Rich in Accra. This move forms part of the nationwide protest by the NDC against the verdict of the 2020 general election.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, on December 9th, pronounced the New Patriotic Party's Nana Akufo-Addo president-elect based on the results of the just-ended polls. NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama has rejected the result, describing it as fictionalized and rigged to favor the ruling NPP. On the back of this, protesters clad in red attire who hosted placards troops to the Electoral Commission's head office to demand that the commissioner reverses what they deem a stolen verdict. Some of these supporters blocked the flow of traffic and bent ties in the middle of the road leading to the commission's building to register their agitation. But the intervention of the Ghana Police Service and the military brought the demonstration to a halt, with the crowd dispersing briefly as they quenched the flames using water cannons. They also fired warning shots to force the agitated party faithful away. The rest of the demonstrators were, however, spotted on the shoulders of the road, not too far from the office. The security personnel have installed barricades to keep them from the EC's premises. In an interview, Director of Operations for the Accra Regional Police Command, ACP Samuel Kwesi Ofori, explained that their presence was to ensure that the development does not escalate. He also added that the Motor Transport and Traffic Directorate is available to ensure there is a free flow of vehicles as the protesters cause heavy traffic on the ridge stretch. NDC supporters also protested at the EC's regional office in Tamale and were simultaneously against the election verdict.
The 2020 general election, which was fiercely contested, has ended amidst tension and anxiety. In the newly created Northeast region, all 6 incumbent members of parliament shockingly lost their seat. Our news team takes a look at the former legislators whose tenure of office will expire on January 7th, 2021.
The 6 are Alhaji Abdul Rauf Tanku Ibrahim, Haja Alima Mahama, Solomon Namlit Boa, Samuel Abdullah Jabanyite, Joseph Bipoba Nabu, and Dr. Sagre Bambangi. Member of Parliament for Yagabakubore, Alhaji Abdul Rauf Tanko, who sought to retain the seat for the National Democratic Congress, fared dismally as he polled 9,393 votes and was soundly outpolled by Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Mustafa Usif. The Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Hajia Alima Mahama, lost the Nalerigu Gambaga seat to Alhaji Baba Isifu Seidu of the National Democratic Congress. She polled 29,123 votes as against her victor, who obtained 31,524. The Northeast Regional Minister and Member of Parliament for Bumpurugu, Solomon Namlit Boa, lost his seat to Abenego Bandim, a former staff of the National Communications Authority. The minister polled 16,684 votes, whilst his opponent got 18,203 votes. Samuel Abdullah Dabanite, who occupied the Chiruponi seat, lost to the district chief executive for the area, Tahibu Abdul Razak, who polled 19,800 votes as against 12,859 for the vanquished. The New Patriotic Party's Oscar Lewal unseated Joseph Bipoba Nabu, who was Member of Parliament for the Unio constituency. Hajia Lariba Zuwaira Abudu, sister of the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmudu Baumia, floored Dr. Sagre Bambangi to secure a win in the Walewale constituency.
So we've been joined on phone by the coordinator for National Coordinator Coalition of Domestic Observers, Mr. Albert Kofi Ahin. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Africa News. Please, can you position yourself so we can hear you better? Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm okay. I can hear you.
Okay. So your organization has so far, over the years, has produced reliable and authentic information or data when it comes to election. So I want to find out, you've been monitoring this election from 7th December till date. So what has your organization, the post-election event, what would be your take? What have you gathered pertaining to this election? And that mostly when you visit the EC's website, you can see they keep changing the figures on their website. So you being an expert, you trying to bring out tangible and authentic information or data, what do you think they are doing, or what is the situation right now?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. What I would say, in fact, is that for Kodio, we came out with our results or our estimates on this very election. And we were saying that whatever result that came out seriously matched that of the EC. And why we are saying so is that we sent people to the field. They brought out the results from 1,502 polling stations. And we are very much convinced about what we had by way of the results, in the sense that this is not the first time Yes.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, please proceed.
Yeah, what I was saying, I don't know whether you are hearing me.
Yeah, I'm now hearing you. I was finding
Yeah, what I'm saying is that Kodio is aware of all that is happening, but I'm saying that we went to the...
Wait for... We apologize for that. Let's move on to our health story, where Basic Needs Ghana, a non-governmental organization formed to promote the cause of people with mental illness, has disclosed that inadequate funding, limited access, and ignorance are some challenges faced in treatment of mental illness across the country. Speaking to Pan-African TV News after a seminar organized by the McLean Hotel in Accra, Project Affair of Basic Needs Ghana, Hannah Tiza Legend, indicated the need for collaboration with traditional and faith-based treatment centers for better treatment for mental illness. Well, we apologize for that. Before that video, let's take a look at some interns at Pan-African Television where they share their thought and experience in the newsroom over coverage of the just-ended disputed 2020 general election. One of the hard-working intern, Gregory Amwa, shared his account of his stint with Pan-African Television. Let's take a listen.
This is Pan-African TV, and today in the newsroom we're going to have one-on-one with Greg Amwa, who is an intern here, to tell us his experience so far with Pan-African TV. So Greg, how are you doing? Okay, so quick, let's go quickly. How is your experience so far with Pan-African TV?
Okay, so my experience so far here has been nothing short of education. Every single day here, I've learned something. It has been topsy-turvy, but in a nutshell, I've learned a lot in my time here.
Alright, so now as a give us a little
okay, so I arrived here fresh from school with so much expectations of the media, but I got here and since day one, I've learned a lot. Even away from what I learned in school, I've been able to learn on the job. Being an intern, I've been exposed to so much action on the field that probably if I was in another media house, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. So I'm very grateful in able to do.
So, can you remember if maybe you were to out of
okay. One thing that I always remember this particular TV station for is that it's a place of opportunity. That no matter who you are, if you avail yourself, then any opportunity that comes, you have your fair share. So you just have to place yourself well and then be ready, because you may be called upon at any point in time and be able to give it up. Being on the field, it's a live action kind of thing. So sometimes you don't even have time to script, you don't have time to think, you don't have time to plan. Sometimes you are just called upon that there's an issue here, so get there. So between the space of leaving this particular place to that location, then you have to improvise a lot. You have to do cognitive restructuring of the road before you even get there. So that is one thing that I was struggling with, but with time, as I kept on doing it, it became part of me. So at any point in time, you know you need to expect something out of the book. So you have to read a lot, you have to watch lots of reportage on the field from seasoned journalists who have done it year after year. So then you can perfect the art of reporting with
How was you feeling like the first day you were asked to report out?
Okay, my first report was quite scary because it was the day presidential candidates were filing their presidential nominations at the EC headquarters. Yeah, so the first day I got there, I went to the IPAC room, I was there. The first
Now, moving back to our health stories pertaining to mental illness and social needs, has disclosed that some challenges faced in treatment of mental illness across the country has become a devastating issue here in Ghana. Speaking at Pan-African TV News after a seminar organized at McLean Hotel in Accra, Project Affairs for Basic Needs Ghana, Hanatiza Legend indicated that the need for collaboration with traditional and faith-based treatment centers for better treatment for mental illness should come on board.
Now, the study that we have just presented as it was a study that was carried out to assess and to give platform for people with mental illness and their carers experience, to share their opinions and experience as to what happens to them when they go to mental health centers for cure, when they go to prayer centers and faith-based healers for cure. Now, the main challenges we identified was one, access. Access is a main challenge because there is inadequate funding. There's a huge funding gap. If only 2% of people with mental illness go to the formal centers. So because of this, the 98% all of them go to traditional healers and faith-based healers. Unfortunately, some of the practices that happen there are not adequate. And they are not adequate, they are not good. And they are not good because, number one, they think that that is the best they can do. That is due to ignorance. Number two, they also feel that what they are doing works. Number three, there is limitation in terms of ability. There's limitation in terms of ability. So, mental illness, mental health care is supposed to be free. Unfortunately, because of inadequate funding, it is not free. So these are some of the factors that are driving them to these centers. And whether we like it or not, they will go to them. So the main challenges that we identified were ignorance, the ingrained social-cultural belief system of the people. These are the issues that are resulting in what is happening there. And then number three, mutual suspicion. There's still that mutual suspicion between formal and informal health practitioners. And that is what we are working so hard to achieve with our relationship building sessions that we are having. When we say ignorance, we are not saying ignorant people. Ignorance, in fact, when you work with the hope that the pain will squeeze out the gene in the person. These are some of the things that are happening due to ignorance. We are not undermining the contribution of prayer centers and traditional healing. They are doing very well. That's why we said that we are with them in marriage for the betterment of people with mental illness and epilepsy.
Up next is the business news.
it's incredible. Bang on target.
Now, investment expert Dr. Sam Ankra has opined that election-related dispute will have no real effect on investors' confidence in Ghana following this year's general election.
According to him, the country already benefits from a sound and stability political regime which has always profited investors and improved their confidence. Dr. Ankra added that entrenchment of the rule of law, a sound financial system, and political stability will continue to make Ghana a preferred investment destination. Following the just-ended general election and the declaration of the incumbent candidate, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as winner of the polls, the National Democratic Congress has opposed the outcome of the result. They claim the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Sene West, presided over a flawed election which ended in victory for them. The party's flag bearer, John Mahama, on his part says it will conduct a forensic audit of all the electoral documents pink sheet in a bid to overturn the outcome of the declared results.
Now, Parliament is preparing to pass the Insurance Bill 2020 into law following its second reading on the floor of the House last week. This follows various amendments which were incorporated into bill by the Finance Committee of Parliament, the National Insurance Commission, and other stakeholders.
The bill is targeted at increasing insurance penetration in the country, which currently remains low, as the Bank of Ghana's Financial Stability Review pegs insurance coverage at 1% of gross domestic product. The bill, meant to replace the Insurance Act of 2006 at 742, is expected to ensure that the insurance industry is regulated in accordance with international framework and acceptable supervisory standards. This seeks to mandate insurance companies to comply with international best practices aimed at protecting premiums of customers. Indeed, the industry has witnessed enormous achievements from recent developments on the international market, among them being the growing number of customers. Therefore, the insurance bill has become necessary to provide stringent regulatory framework to sustain the industry. Importantly, one of the major initiatives being championed by the bill has been the need for insurance companies to ensure good corporate governance practices. Members of Parliament insisted that the move would serve as a check to guide insurance companies to be responsible in their investment decisions. The bill forms part of the initiatives of the National Insurance Commission under the auspices of the Ministry of Finance to grow the industry by strengthening corporate governance and increasing its accessibility, most especially the informal sector. It was laid in Parliament on October 20th, 2020 by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta.
You're still watching Pan-African News on Pan-African Television with me, Anane. We're streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television and also GoTV Channel 182. We'll be back shortly with our international news from our international partners, People's Dispatch. Now, authorities are worried that if drastic steps are not taken, the healthy system or the health system might face a major crisis, putting the lives of the Palestinian people at risk. COVID-19 is continuing to spread rapidly across Palestine. The Israeli blockade is worsening this crisis. Authorities are worried that if drastic steps are not taken, the health system might collapse.
COVID-19 is continuing to spread rapidly across Palestine. The Israeli blockade is worsening this crisis. Authorities are worried that if drastic steps are not taken, the health system might collapse. Partial lockdowns have been imposed in different regions of Gaza and the West Bank, but a number of other problems are hampering the efforts of Palestinian authorities to combat the pandemic. This includes shortages in medicines, vital healthcare equipment such as test kits, and financial difficulties. In the first week of December, authorities in Gaza had halted testing after running out of testing kits. The interruption came when 1/3 of COVID tests were coming back positive, an alarmingly high rate of infection. Lack of testing would have halted any efforts of monitoring and containing the virus and caused a much larger outbreak. The World Health Organization was able to prevent such a crisis by providing test kits for the next few days. But the long-term problem remains. Israeli blockades have devastated Palestine's health infrastructure. Moreover, the existing system is under severe strain as it also has to regularly deal with fatal injuries, gunshot wounds, and other similar medical emergencies. Most of these are the result of Israeli attacks on civilians in Gaza and assaults carried out by the Israeli military. Also, Gaza is one of the most densely populated regions in the world. Over 2 million people inhabit an area of 360 kilometers square. The number of hospitals in the region is grossly inadequate to accommodate them. On December 10th, the Palestine Chronicle reported that all the hospitals in Gaza were full. The occupancy rates had reached 100%. The Israeli apartheid regime has created a permanent emergency in Palestine's healthcare. For years, it has been on the brink of collapse. Agencies such as the WHO are able to provide temporary relief, but even they have their limitations. For instance, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, or the UNRWA, caters to around 5.6 million refugees. In late November, the agency said they are stretched beyond capacity and are about to crash. The situation is a result of a massive fall in funding. The US, which was formerly UNRWA's largest donor, withdrew its funding in 2018. Saudi Arabia donated $50 million in 2018 to help fill the gap created by the US. But last year, it donated just $2 million. Israeli blockades and restrictions on movement have destroyed Palestinian infrastructure to the extent that Palestinians often have to rely on Israel to meet their essential needs. The human rights group Al-Haq stated in its position paper on COVID-19 that the pandemic poses a disproportionate and substantial threat to a Palestinian society deliberately denied for decades the right to develop a functioning healthcare system. The biggest obstacle in the way of Palestinians' access to healthcare is the denial of their right to self-determination. It is only with financial, social, and cultural autonomy can they build the systems required to meet the needs of the people.
An Ecuadorian judge has rejected a request for annulment of the case against Swedish software engineering and digital rights activist Olabini. The decision was made on Wednesday, December 16th, at a pre-trial hearing on the case moved against Bini by the Prosecutor General Office. The presiding judge, Yadira Proano, rejected the defense team's argument that the prosecution process has been riddled with prejudicial behavior and political interference.
The judge held that the case against Ola Bini is without prejudice or irregularities, despite the defense providing over 120 documented instances of irregularities in due process. The judge has also ordered the preparatory stage of a trial to commence. Wednesday's hearing was held without the presence of any observers, as Judge Prauno had blocked access to hearings and trial proceedings in the last hearing held on December 3. Dozens of national and international observers and the representative of the Swedish government who were present in the last hearing were not allowed to observe proceedings due to this decision. Bini is currently facing charges of non-consensual access to a computer system in Ecuador, which is yet to be substantiated with any incriminating evidence. Bini's defense team had been trying to persuade the court to drop the charges against him on the grounds of multiple documented irregularities in the case. In the previous pre-trial hearings held on December 3, the court had to suspend the hearings for nearly 2 weeks to assess the trove of evidence of political intervention and irregularities presented by the defense team. Bini's lawyers, Carlos Soria and Jose Chari, pointed out that over 120 instances of irregularities and violation of due process have happened ever since his arrest at the Quito airport in April 2019. There's no other legal way than to declare the nullity of the process from page 0 since Mr. Bini was approached by a policeman without a warrant and without a charge, said Soria. While talking to the press just minutes before the hearing began, the judge nevertheless sided with the prosecution and held that Bini's prosecution has been conducted so far without prejudice. This is despite the fact that the prosecution team is yet to submit enough evidence to substantiate their claims about Bini. Bini first arrested without any charges on the same day that Ecuador and the President Lenin Moreno revoked the asylum to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Bini was earlier charged with much harsher accusations of attacking the integrity of computer systems, only to be later changed without much explanation. The case's irregularities and political interference was the reason behind the right passed for his release and the recusal of the previous presiding judge. The judge will now take a decision on when to hold the full-fledged trial against Bini by next week. The defense continues to assert that the trial is a political persecution and is an attempt by the prosecution to bide him for time. There are no elements or arguments to support the accusations of the prosecutor general, said Shari. While speaking to the press outside the courtroom, Shari later also tweeted that the case from the prosecution, as of now, hinges on the allegation that he had encrypted himself while accessing a website.
Up next is the sports news.
Hello. Okay, why? My wife comes and send a message. Hello. What's happened?
It's a child who will be a quiet say what?
We signed for the fair. I'm so here too. You are not testing messages here. And our officer, so I'm trying to tell you, she says, I
mean, so we a guy manu and may you who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Drilling Company Limited.
You two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Yinaso, Ye Frey 0240 333 111 and NASA 0244 144 822.
Nyampa and no swimming pool me see. Me want to no be here. Family drilling now. Family drilling.
Breakfast is your last shit.
Me out with that shit.
Now let's do some sports. The Black Satellites of Ghana will collide with Burkina Faso in the Wafu Zone B Under-20 final on Sunday. Now the fixture will be played at the Charles de Gaulle Stadium in Porto Novo. There's more to the story. Managed to secure their final place after their hard-fought victory over Niger as they played to a scoreless draw in regular and extra time. Meanwhile, their opponent, the Young Stallions of Burkina Faso, secured their final place after handing favourites Côte d'Ivoire a shocking 4-1 defeat at the same venue. Coach Abdul Karim Zito Kabute and skipper Daniel Lefrier Banier are also aiming to etch their names in football folklore by emulating Senegal, who won the maiden trophy in 2018. The Black Satellites and Burkina Faso have secured a place in Mauritania next year, along with Gambia, Uganda, Tanzania, Namibia and Mozambique. Now let's do some more local sports story where Ghanaian Premier League powerhouse Kumasi Asante Kotoko and head coach Maxwell Kunedu have parted ways. Now the development comes a day after the Porcupine Warriors suffered a 1-0 loss at the hands of Accra Great Olympics in the league. Kotoko opened the RGPL season with a 1-all home draw with 11 Wonders before again sharing spoils with Brekum Chelsea on match day 2. Last week, the Porcupine Warriors registered their first win of the season in a 1-0 result over Legon Cities. Yesterday's defeat to Olympics for the away side proved the coach's last straw. Kotoko appointed Kunedu as head coach in December 2019 following the dismissal of Norwegian trainer Jetil Zachariasen. It was the Ghanaian's second stint in charge of the Porcupine Warriors, having led the side to the Premier League title in 2012. He has previously worked as an assistant coach of Ghana's national team, as well as head coach of the Black Stars B team, whom he guided to the final of the 2019 Wafu Cup of Nations in Senegal. Interim coach Johnson Smith will lead Kotoko into Sunday's Premier League away encounter with Dreams FC and next week's CAF Champions League first round showdown with Al Hilal of Sudan. Now, away from football, we go to boxing, where Janadi Golovkin will defend his IBF welterweight title against Camille Shermeta today. The bout, billed for the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, was originally scheduled for February but postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. Golovkin, who annexed silver in the middleweight division at the 2004 Olympiad, is known for his exceptionally powerful and precise punching, balance, and methodical movement inside the ring. The 38-year-old Kazakhstani, who has just one loss and a draw with 40 career wins, last fought on October 5, 2019, when he beat Sergey Derevianchenko for the IBF middleweight crown. The unbeaten challenger, Shermeta, who hails from Poland, brutally knocked out Oscar Cortes to land a shot at the title. The fight, which will precede Mexico's Saul Canelo Alvarez's collision with Callum Smith tomorrow, could set the stage for a trilogy battle in 2021 if both boxing superstars prevail. Now that's all we have for sports. On today's Midday News, up next is entertainment.
Now, the let-it-go hitmaker Derek Ofe Awuku, popularly known as Ofe, tells more about himself and what he has been up to in the music industry. In an interview with my colleague Lydia Boateng from the entertainment desk, he also speaks about his challenges he faced during the COVID-19 era.
Okay. Like I said, I'm a medical laboratory scientist too, so back in the day I used to juggle both. But now it's like I put the medical practice aside.
You must be a shark. Well then. Okay, so what genre of music do you do?
I always say I do Afrofusion because I mean people like to classify me as an Afrobeat, Afro-pop artist, but I'm a singer, and I like I said I used to rap and I used to dance too. So growing up listening to all sorts of music, I just term my style of music Afrofusion because it's every genre, but I can do R&B, I can do soul, I can do country music if you want, but I add an African touch, be it the language, be it the instruments that I play. So I call it Afrofusion because it has a base of Africanism in there.
How did the COVID-19 affect you? Did it affect your music anyway?
It was a bittersweet kind of feeling because I dropped Femano, that's my song with Pato Ranking, late February. And in March, we had a lockdown, serious lockdown. There were no shows, nothing was going on. We couldn't promote the song. So it was hard. But on the other side, on the flip side, on social media and on TV, people were really watching the video. Even though some people feel I'm not in Ghana, I'm not a Ghanaian, but I couldn't put my face out there. But I also took advantage to actually complete my EP, and then the album is also done. So I
so it's already out.
It's not out. Like I took time to actually record the song, so we have more songs now. And I think maybe I wouldn't have gotten time to work on these projects if I was on the road moving around playing shows.
Okay, let's say, what do you feel about celebrities endorsing political parties?
Honestly, I feel it's every citizen's right to express a side or pick a side when it comes to politics. But you see, we have grades of people in the system, and let's say, imagine if your pastor should come out openly and say he's for NDC or MPP. How would you feel being in a congregation like that? And I feel we as artists also, like, we play the same role in society. You know, we entertain a lot of people, the poor, the rich, the old, the young, and MPP, NDC, all these people, we entertain all of them at once, at a go. They all download our songs at a go. So if you have your personal beliefs or you've picked a side, I don't feel it's good to come out openly to say, like, to declare it openly. That's for me. But it could go otherwise for someone else. But for me, if I'm voting for party A or party B, or I support this person's ideology, I don't think I would really come out and let people know it. But all I can just say is, if you stand for one party and you stand for their ideal, you don't even have to tag it. You don't have to tag yourself. You can actually spread the word, the good word, saying that, we need good roads, we need potable drinking water, we need this, we need that good health, and not necessarily stand behind one human being and say that I'm for that person.
Okay.
That'll be all for this afternoon. My name is Anane. Do well to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram at Pan African Television, and also on Go TV channel 182. Do have a good afternoon.